guys for following us, checking out all of our videos. So June is National Home Ownership Month. And in honor of that, we are tapping into some of the brilliant minds of some of our realtor friends and people who work in that area to get some information out to you guys. Now, a lot of it may sound like it's for first-time buyers. Helpful. So today we have Jimmy Akers with us, and he is a realtor with Stewart and Associates. You want to say hi, Jimmy?
Hey.
Yeah. And so anything that you want to add, could you tell us about maybe like your coverage area and that sort of thing? Anything new that you've got going on? I know you just said that you're starting to do virtual tours, so you could maybe tell us about that.
I'm doing my first virtual tour today, and it's with people from Atlanta. And I helped them over the weekend look for houses. And so they left. We didn't find any. But today I'm going out and I'm going to do virtual tours with them on some houses to see if they see anything they like that they want to come back up here. So hopefully they won't spend a bunch of, gas money to come back and then not like the properties.
And that's very important right now, we know, with
Yes.
the gas money. So so that's a new option, you guys. You can do virtual tours if you're looking for a home. So that's really cool. And I did my homework. I looked at your webpage for really quickly, and I noticed you do something called iRacing, and that's not something I'm familiar with. So I thought I'd ask you about that really quickly.
Well, I'm not very good at it, but it's a racing simulation. It's one of the most realistic racing simulations you can do. I mean, a lot of NASCAR drivers, to learn a track, will actually go onto iRacing and race just to learn the track. And I have a race. I have a race rig. It's steering wheel, pedals.
Okay.
And I have a VR headset that I put on, so it really feels like you're inside the car. And it's if you went down there, you would think a 15-year-old lived in our basement.
So is this the game where you can chat with other players? Like you're online,
you chat with other players.
Cool.
We usually get on a Discord. It's another little chat service with, our friends. And then in the game, you can hit a button while you're driving and chat to people in the game.
Nice. Okay. I learned so much doing these interviews, related and not related to our topics. Okay. So let's get started. So first off, it's kind of a broad question, but what advice would you give people right now who are reluctant to buy or sell in this current market? I know a lot of people are afraid of the housing prices and that sort of thing.
Well, for sellers, my advice would be there's never been a time where in such a short amount of time you can make big profits. Mm-hmm. For buyers, get yourself a good agent. Get yourself somebody that you get references, do some research. Don't just pick an agent out of the blue. Okay. Get somebody that's going to fight for you.
All right. That's good advice. And we'll actually have Jimmy's contact information when we post this video. So if you are looking for an agent, you can look him up. How should a first-time buyer determine that they are ready to buy their first home versus continuing to rent? So what are some things that you need to look at about yourself that say, I'm ready, or I need to hold off a little bit?
Well, probably the biggest thing would be, do you have a steady job? Is your job going to be there years from now? Do you have money? Are you saving money? You need to have a few $1,000s in the bank. And probably another thing to look at would be, are you making such a big rental payment that you could actually be paying a house payment? There's a lot of people out there that are doing that, paying, a big enough payment that they could actually just go and get a house.
Okay. And is that because the cost of rent being driven up like the cost of housing is right now too, or is that just?
Yes, there's,
Okay.
what's happened is a lot of landlords have decided to sell the properties because, they can make so much money that it would take years to make the money that they're going to make renting the property. So they just decide to go ahead and sell it.
Gotcha.
And it's created a shortage of rental property.
I see. Okay. Not good. Okay, so let's go on to, actually, this is also on the note of inflation. With concern about inflation and the federal interest rate increase, how should, and you can talk about buyers, sellers, and even people who are just current homeowners, how should they expect to be affected?
Well, for buyers, it's going to cost you more to borrow the money. So a 0.5% increase is going to cost you probably thousands of dollars more.
Okay.
Sellers, eventually, if it keeps going the way it is, I think sellers will eventually have to lower their asking price, because people aren't going to be able to afford the loan, or you'll be selling your house to somebody that's in a higher income bracket than you originally were marketing it to.
Okay.
And for homeowners, again, if you borrow money, if you do a home equity line of credit, it's just going to cost you more. In general, just to borrow any money is going to cost you more.
Okay. All right. So, oh, are we getting a sound? I thought I heard something.
A motorcycle just went by.
Oh, okay. I thought that was our Zoom, our meet. So I think we're good. All right. So this one is for the probably more so for first time buyers. There are a lot of things as far as saving up and paying extra fees and that sort of thing that you might not be expecting. But when you're buying a house, is a down payment something that is always required when buying a home? And if so, how much should the person plan to pay as far as a down payment goes?
So down payments aren't always required, especially if you're a veteran and your credit is pretty good. You will not have to pay. You can get a VA loan and not have to pay a down payment.
Good to know.
If you're not a veteran, you can get a USDA loan and not have to make a down payment. You can get an FHA loan, and your down payment generally will be 3.5%. But if you are going to do a conventional loan, I would plan on paying 10 to 20% down. And even the more you pay down, the better off you are on any of those loans.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask, do you recommend, even if it's not required, go ahead and make it a good down payment? So 10 to 20%.
10 to 20% usually.
Plan to aim for. Okay. Yeah. I think that's good advice. All right. So let's talk about getting a home ready to sell. So what have you seen, or what should someone do to get ready to sell their home? What are some features to highlight? What are people looking for right now?
So to get your house ready to sell, I say clean,
Okay.
declutter. I generally tell my people to pretend the queen is coming every day for lunch.
Okay.
And the nicer you can make your house look and the less cluttered, the better off you are. Keep your yard mowed. Mm-hmm. And the features that I would highlight, like right now, if your house was in a good location, like a very convenient location, you might highlight that because of gas prices. If you've just redone your kitchen, you might highlight that. If your house has a large space to entertain your neighbors and friends, you might highlight that. I mean, mm-hmm. It really depends. Every buyer is different. Some people are looking for a convenient location. Other people might be looking for a great view. Some people want a large yard space. Other people could care less if they even have a yard. I mean, every buyer is generally different on what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. But take the best thing about your house and highlight it.
Okay. Yeah, I know the house we lived in before, when we were selling it, we had some garden boxes in the backyard that my husband had built, and we debated about whether or not to keep those there. I mean, do those sort of things, do people say, oh, it already has a garden box, or maybe if it has it and they're going to have to take it apart, are they like, oh, I don't want to bother with that? You know?
It really just depends on if the garden boxes looked nice, I would say leave them, because it gives more options for, somebody with a green thumb to, that wants to plant, and you never know, somebody that doesn't want to use them to plant may find another use for them that you didn't even think about.
No, I didn't think about that. I hope they did. I hope they found a good use for them. We left them, so. All right. So what are some common mistakes that you see with you can talk about buyers or sellers, but people who are going into this for the first time? I know, for instance, buying the Homeowner now, we didn't, and you'll appreciate this because you like racing. We didn't go by several times during the day to test the noise level. And it turns out we're in proximity to a drag strip. And we can hear the race cars sometimes up until like 11:30 at night. You may have been to the drag strip. It's Piedmont in Burlington. Have you been to that one?
I haven't been there.
Okay. Yeah, but we can hear the racetrack sometimes. So we definitely should have come and sat later in the evening
to
test that out.
Probably, honestly, the biggest mistakes I see from buyers is, and especially young buyers, is they want to go out and look at property before they've talked to a lender to see what they are qualified for.
Okay.
So, and they may want to look at properties that are 300,000 and they're just qualified for 150,000, and then it's a big letdown. I usually tell all my first time people, go talk to a lender, see what you're qualified for, see what loan type you're qualified for, and what would be best for you, and we'll go from there. And that's the biggest mistake I see from buyers and from sellers. Right now, sellers have a big, things are crazy, and they a lot of times will want to overprice things.
Okay. Because they've heard that you can.
Yeah, they've heard, hey, so-and-so sold this for this. And just right now, things are crazy, and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people will want to generally overprice something. And you have to get through an appraisal. Right. If somebody's getting a loan, it has to go through an appraisal. That's what I usually say. We can price it whatever, but it's got to go get through an appraisal.
Okay. All right. So my takeaway from that is, on both ends, you might have a number in your head that you think you're going to be able to swing, but after all the fees and that sort of thing, on the buyer's end, the number may be lower or higher. Sorry, the number may be higher. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Talk to your lender, get a good idea of the budget before you go looking at houses that are probably beautiful, but maybe not within your range.
Yeah.
All right. So we're getting close to the end. We try to keep these interviews around 10 minutes. So what questions do you wish that buyers and sellers would think to ask their realtor when they're getting ready to buy or sell?
Oh, I wish sometimes they would ask me if is my budget realistic? Sometimes you'll be, their budget might be 175,000, but they're wanting to find a house that could be in the condition and have the features of like a $350,000 house, And, maybe another thing might be, should I make my best offer my first offer?
Oh, okay.
Things are so crazy right now. A property can come open and in a day there's 4 or 5 offers on it.
Mhm.
uh you know and you can lose it if you're not quick about looking at the property and making an offer and making a good offer. In this market, you'll lose it if you really like the house.
Okay. Okay. That's good advice. All right. So we've gotten some wonderful information today from Jimmy Akers. Is there anything that you would like to add that we didn't ask about? Any information you feel like just needs to be out there?
Just no. I mean, really, I think we covered quite a bit.
Okay.
If anybody out there has any questions, you can call or email me. I'd be more than happy to try to help you in any way.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And again, we'll put all that contact information up with the video. We've been talking to Jimmy Akers, who's a realtor from Stewart and Associates in Lebanon, Virginia, correct? You're in
Yes.
Lebanon. And I hope you guys have found this interview helpful, and stay tuned. We're going to have more to come.